Dashing Youth and Blood River matched together. I'm going to take those dramas and I'm going to go over there and I'm going to forget that Blood of Youth exists. Because honestly, I'm telling you, if you are someone that watched the Blood of Youth first and you absolutely loved Blood of Youth, and then you heard that Blood River was going to be released, I cannot see why you'd even be remotely curious about it. Never mind that you'd actually go and take the time to watch it. I legit can't. And if you're like me and you originally watched the Blood River first, if you're planning on watching the Blood of Youth, I'm telling you, don't bother. Because if you loved Blood River, you will hate the Blood of Youth. Okay. Unfortunately, my thoughts are a mess right now. Because it has been a long time since I had a chance to film anything. And I'm watching other dramas already as a result. And my head is all mixed up with thoughts of those instead. The bug. At this time of year. So yeah, my thoughts are very messed up. I made the other video about these dramas, and I said that I just wanted to go in a corner and cry, and I was like, I was on the verge of not being able to watch any more of this drama, The Blood of Youth. And I went ahead and watched more, and very, very quickly realized that, no, I can't watch any more of it. I officially dropped it during episode 19. It was 28 minutes and 39 seconds in on December 23rd. I dropped it officially because I can't anymore. I checked ahead and saw right after making that video, the last one that I did, part 1 of this, they did more. They added to the pile in the very next episode. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then, the way it happened and everything that was going on, I had the worst stomach ache ever. So I checked ahead. And not only did what I predict come true, the way that it came true was also predictable, but definitely should not have happened. And I discovered something else. As if he wasn't already doing the worst he could do, he added even more. It's unreal. It's unreal, people. The entire reason that I loved Dashing Youth and Blood River so much, especially Blood River, the entire reason that I love Blood River so much is because it's so entirely different from the typical of what you get in these types of dramas. The typical that I am beyond words sick of. I have no words to describe how sick I am of it. And when you get into certain genres and whatever, okay, yes, you're expecting certain things, but there's a difference between certain things that are going to happen because that's the type of world and whatever. And these are apparently just the type of things because for some reason they've up and decided that this is either just what the author wants and who cares what the fan wants, or for some reason this is what the fans want. And so they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it when it's not necessary and it's absurd and they really need to deviate and do something else sometimes. Because it's really not necessary for this type of genre. And that, of course, is all the characters they're killing off, and how they kill them off, and when they kill them off, and who they kill off, and how many they kill off. It's absurd, I tell you. I said that I didn't think that the author wrote The Blood of Youth and then backed up and did Dashing Youth of Blood and Blood River, but I'm starting to kind of change my mind. Because either he did The Blood of Youth first, and all of these characters had already died, so what else could he do? In which case, what the crap is wrong with you that you knew you killed all these characters and then you backed up and wrote a story about them? So we went as people from watching Blood of Youth that barely knew these guys, or didn't know them at all because they died before the drama started, off screen somewhere. And so it was like, yeah, okay, that's sad. And there was one character that, okay, that would be really sad. And one character that the crap. And one character is just okay, he's the bad guy in this drama, so why would I care? Etc. To then backing up and making us absolutely love these characters. So now our heart is absolutely broken and crushed under your sadistic little boot. Why would you do that to us? What is wrong with you? Or he wrote all of these stories. Back here, he started off with Dashing Youth and maybe Blood River too. We'll get back to, And he started with those and then he wrote Blood of Youth. And what is wrong with you on a whole different level? Because you start off with all these characters and you introduce me to all these characters and we know these characters and we go through a whole journey with them and then you just decide to kill them all? Why would you do that? And it happens all the time in these dramas and I'm getting so sick and tired of it. I already went through, on part 1, I already went through all the characters and all the spoilers and all that stuff. And then in episode 18, there's another character that, okay, you know what, it wasn't necessarily a big favorite, but he was a very well-known character to me through Dashing Youth and Blood River. Like, yeah, he was in both, and it was the same actor all the way through. So I knew him. I knew something about him. I literally watched this guy grow up. Because, okay, giving away who it is, so I'll probably mark this with spoilers. I can't remember his name, but that doesn't even matter. Because I literally watched this guy grow up. You introduced me to him as a child. And then I see him get older. And now he's an adult. I literally watch him grow up. And then you go and kill him. And you go and do it in that way. Why are you doing this to me? I've lost count now. How many did I say it was? 5 before? And now it was 6 all of a sudden with this? I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm getting the worst stomachache because you just did this to him too. Just another one to the pile. And I can't do this anymore with the way that he died. And I can't. So I checked ahead. And I skip, what I usually do, I go somewhere right near the ending to kind of see it, and then I start backing up. If I'm not seeing certain characters, I'm like, oh, great. So I'm backing up until I find where, okay, yeah, that's why they're not in those episodes, because they went and killed them over here. And I knew it. I knew they were going to do that. Massive spoilers. Who is it they killed? I can't do it. And then why that character ends up dying, and who it is that kills him. They literally 100% undid everything that they set up in Blood River. Okay, this is the biggest reason why, if you want to call Blood River a shared universe rather than season 2, this would be the big reason why. Because, in all actuality, the way the Blood River was done, it pretty much completely is contradicted in the Blood of Youth. Almost entirely contradicted. The reason that I love Blood River so much is because it's so entirely different. There are certain things that they do in just about every single one of these things that really, like I said, is not necessary for you to have in every single one of them. And yet they're just either in almost every single one of them. It's in Dashing Youth. There's 2, or did I figure out 3 different scenarios that happen in basically every single one of these types of stories. And I'm telling you, it's not necessary. It is too common. You need to back off. There's basically 3 things, and none of them happened in Blood River. And I was like, yes, I think we're safe. And then I remembered, oh yeah, the Blood of Youth comes next. And they ended up doing it. And they ended up doing it even worse than I expected them to. Because they went ahead and completely changed the characters, and that's the only reason why it worked. Because if you took Changha and Muyu from Blood River, the chances of this happening, it would have to take something huge to bring it to this point. And I'm telling you, after everything they go through in Blood River... Okay, the way I explained this part turned out really messy because I was trying to explain 2 or 3 different things at once, and I ended up writing stuff on screen, and still I didn't say what I really wanted to say. But at the same time, now I'm trying to record a better version of it, and I don't know if I can. It's so hard to explain because when you're watching stories, there's different things that different people see within the story. Real people in real life, we have different parts of ourselves that we present to different people, right? Changha is an extremely private person. He doesn't show himself to people, and there's many, many reasons why. Most people, the vast majority of people he spends any time around in Dark River and anywhere else, they don't see him. They see a part of him, the part of him that he's willing to show, and that's it. Muyu would be seeing a completely different part of him because Muyu is so close to him. Muyu would be the only person within the story that would know, the real Changha, if anybody knows the real Changha, if even Changha knows the real Changha. Muyu's the only one that would really know that, because he's the closest to him and has been for the longest amount of time. Me, the viewer, is a whole nother thing. When you're writing a story, the viewer needs to see the real character at some point. You can't just keep masking the character around us. When the character is alone, or when they're only with certain people, we're supposed to be able to see their true colors somehow. At some point in your story, you have to give that to us. You can't keep hiding that from the viewer. Because the thing is, that's why, from what I saw of Changha, especially when he was alone or when he was with certain people and when vulnerable parts of him began to show, or peeked through or whatever. There was various different parts of Blood River where I'm like, this is what I'm seeing, and there's an indication of something there that like everybody thinks that he's just the Undertaker. He's just this killer that's cold-blooded and hates everybody and whatever. But like there was more to him than that. I saw loyalty there. Even like and like being able to connect with people and have some type of friendship. Some of the scenes that stood out the most to me were like the whole scene where he saves that girl, the poison girl from Dark River. He sees that she's useless now, and yet he still saves her. And he stands in front of her and protects her and saves her. Why would he do that? If he doesn't care, if he only wants tools, like in The Blood of Youth, what it seems like he's doing, if he only wants tools to achieve his goal, why would he have done that for that girl? What was the point of that? He didn't have that deep of a connection with her. So did he only do that because he hated the Tongue Clan? Okay, now why is he working with the Tongue Clan in The Blood of Youth? Did he do that because the other guy, the Moo whatever, liked this girl and he knew that? Well, then he's clearly thinking of other people, not just himself. Like, there's something else going on there if he's willing to do that there. Like, what was the reason for doing that? And then another scene that stuck out to me was when, like, what's her name? Bai He. When, like, there's a scene where she's playing with one of his knives. There's twice within that drama where you hear that somebody else touched his knife for some reason, but you never see anybody else even touching his knife, never mind playing with it. She's the only one that ever did that. So, like, he is capable of building relationships and, like, getting closer to people and doing things with them, and there's a loyalty and a trust that is there. Like, there's something within his characters that's a whole lot deeper than just this, like, everybody through that drama is constantly saying like he's bad and whatever, and like yes, for the most part he is. Like he's a very dangerous person, etc. And this is why I was trying to say in The Blood of Youth what he did and whatnot. I'm not necessarily saying that it's entirely impossible. There is a possibility that maybe he could do that because I do see this dangerous side of him, and they said in Blood River that he's an extremely ambitious person, and that could be the ruin of him, and it can be when people are too ambitious, like whatever. But like it's not that it's entirely outside the realm of possibility. But from what I saw in The Blood of Youth, their characters, just what they're capable of and what they're like and what they're doing, it just automatically, it doesn't match. It just legit doesn't match. Everything about who they are as a character, it feels like a completely different character. And then on top of that, when Muyu says that it's just his desire took over and it got too strong or whatever, I'm like, I don't believe you. For him to get to the point that he's at right now, like everything they went through in Blood River, and he didn't do these things. And then they're telling me at the end of Blood River that it's been 8 years that they were away from the martial arts world. And then in Blood River, in Blood of Youth, they come back and they've been back in the martial arts world for 1 year. And this is what they're like, and this is what Chung Ha is doing? And you're saying that just all of a sudden, up out of nowhere, his desire took over and he decides to do this? Like, it does not make sense. The type of character that was presented to me in Blood River and the type of character that's presented to me in The Blood of Youth, they don't match. And the reasons for why he's doing it and how far he's going, the way he treated Dark River in The Blood River, it was him that didn't want to abandon everybody. He was the one that wanted to bring everybody to the other shore. And what is the other shore? Like, what was he planning to do? Why did he want them? Like, the difference between what Muyu wanted in Blood River and what Chung Ha wanted in Blood River. Muyu looked to me more like a bad guy than Chung Ha did. I was either misunderstanding something or Muyu was more of a bad guy, because Muyu's like, I want to take only the people I care about and then I'm going to run for it. And Chung Ha's like, no, we're going to bring everybody. And I'm like, which one of you really cares more about people here? Like, what's going on? That Muyu is supposed to be the good guy and Chung Ha is not. So Chung Ha only wanted to bring everybody because he wanted to have his own little kingdom and be the king of everything? That's kind of what it seems like they were saying in The Blood of Youth, but that is not what I got from Blood River. Chung Ha had a care about him. Like, he cared about people. There was a part of him that actually cares about people in Blood River. That's what I got. Like, and then you find out in The Blood of Youth, from what it seems like he was using them somehow and didn't care that they're all dying and whatever. And I'm like, that is the exact thing that he was fighting against in The Blood River. It doesn't make sense to me that he made this much of a turnaround. It would take something way bigger than just 8 years of meh out of the martial arts world. Why would you spend 8 years out of the martial arts world over there, having your own, what were they doing during those 8 years? That all of a sudden they come out and within 1 year, this is what I'm getting out of them. And this is why it just doesn't make any sense to me. In Blood River, they bring up the whole absolute trust, and they make it clear how this is not going to happen. They had that conversation about if we ever did have a fight and blah blah. I'm like, oh, red flag, it's going to happen. And then it doesn't happen in Blood River because absolute trust, and these two would never do that to each other. And then what happens in the Blood of Youth? Yeah. Legit. I feel like the only reason it didn't happen in Blood River now is not because somebody finally did an epic, unique story where they beat the system. They made it out. Both of them were alive. There's absolute trust. No, it turns out that's not true. It's just a joke. It's all a lie because it does happen in the Blood of Youth. And that's the only reason it didn't happen in Blood River is because they had to wait to Blood of Youth because it already happened in Blood of Youth. So, Dashing Youth and Blood River match together. I'm going to take those dramas and I'm going to go over there and I'm going to forget that Blood of Youth exists. Because honestly, I'm telling you, if you are someone that watched the Blood of Youth first and you absolutely loved Blood of Youth, you could go back and watch the Dashing Youth. I'm not sure why on earth you'd do that to yourself. I really don't know why you do that to yourself. But you could, potentially, go back and watch the Dashing Youth and still like Dashing Youth. You could. Because there's enough characters left and whatever. It depends which one's your favorite characters are. You could. But I can't even fathom, not even remotely, I can't come up with a single reason why, if you loved the Blood of Youth, I can't think of a single reason why you would bother going and watching the Blood River. Can't not fathom why you would bother watching it. If you came from the Blood of Youth, if you watched it back when it was released, and then you heard the Blood River was going to be released, I don't know why you'd be even remotely interested in it. I cannot see why you'd even be remotely curious about it. Never mind that you'd actually go and take the time to watch it. I legit can't. And if you're like me, and you originally watched the Blood River first, and you're considering backing up and watching Dashing Youth, go ahead. And if you're planning on watching the Blood River, or the Blood of Youth, I'm telling you, don't bother. Because if you loved Blood River, you will hate the Blood of Youth. You will hate it. I'm telling you. Because Dark River is not the same. Muyu and Changha are not the same. What this show does to them, what they do to each other, everything that happens in the Blood of Youth, it doesn't match. It doesn't work. You will hate it if you loved Blood River. You'll hate it. Other things about it you'll like. I mean, there was other things about it I liked. There were other characters that I really liked, and I wanted to keep watching to see what happened with them. But I can't do it. And then on top of that, all the other characters that I do like, more spoilers, I accidentally find out one of the core people, as if you haven't already killed enough people for some reason. I don't know why you had to kill so many of these characters. There was no reason for it. There was legit no reason for it. You did not need to kill all of these characters. It's like the only reason you did. Crap, how do I get them off screen? How do I get them out of the story so that these characters can shine? Because if all these characters are here, these ones have nothing to do because these guys are still so powerful. I swear that's why so many characters start off so strong and then turn into wimpy whatevers and get pathetically off screen because people are like, oh crap, we made them to be so strong that now these guys have nothing to do, so we have to do something stupid and quick to get rid of these guys so that we can have these guys shine. This is the same type of thing people do when they try to make the woman shine and they have to stomp all over the man to do it. You already had all of your characters over here that were epic. You could have found a way to get them out of the picture without stomping all over them, and instead you stomped all over them, i.e. you killed them all. Or did something else. Like, whatever. You did something like... Why would you do this? Why? Why would you do this? It's not necessary. In Dashing Youth, that's another reason why I could still watch Dashing Youth and liked Dash of Youth. But because in Dashing Youth, my favorite character, one of my two second favorite characters, Nangang, I told you he was my second favorite. The ties, there's 2 and 2. But Nangang, they had something to get him out of the story because, he came back at a crucial time and did something huge, and without him, they made it pretty clear that if he hadn't come back and done that, nobody would have been able to beat this overpowered bad guy. And I'm like, Nangang, thanks a lot for not killing him, because then he caused so many problems in the Blood River. So you had to get him out of the picture. But instead of doing something idiotic, like when he became Nangang, losing all of his power and never getting it back again, no, they didn't even do that, which is typical. They always take the power away and just, well, they have too much power, so, let's just have something dumb take it away. Like, they're poisoned, and now all of a sudden they have no power. Or some other guy all of a sudden comes along with this ability to nix all the power he's ever had, or whatever. They didn't even do that. He did get his power back. He is epic. Nangang is epic, partially because he's one of those people that you built him up to be something, and he stayed that. Nangang stayed that. They built him up to something and he stayed there. And the reason he wasn't in the story anymore is because he chose a different life, because he's been living this way for all of these years, and now he's decided he's done and he's going over there. And he's probably, because he's done, he probably completely cut it off so that he doesn't even know that any of this stuff is happening. Otherwise, I can't entirely fathom why he didn't come back. But it's like he didn't even know this stuff because he's cut himself off from this. He's over there and he's done with it, so he's gone. And that was like so refreshing. This is what I'm talking about. Some of this stuff that they do on repeat all the time is not necessary. There are so many other things you could have done with your characters that would have been so much less insulting. And instead, you just get lazy and you kill them all. After going back and making us love these guys, and then you kill them that way. It's not necessary. It really isn't. And yet they won't quit doing it. And that's my problem. In Dashing Youth, I think there were some things that were like, this is typical, but at the same time, typical can be done differently enough. There are a lot of stories, like I've heard the story 100 times before, and yet I haven't quite, because they're using the same elements and doing the same type of thing, but in a slightly different way. And therefore it has a little bit of a unique flavor, and you know what? I like this one. I can like 20 different versions of the same story because they are different. There's something different about them. Dashing Youth had something different about it that made me still like it. And okay, you know what? Because of the characters I absolutely loved. I straight up adored those 4. There's no. Chang'e I didn't adore in Dashing Youth. I really, he's Chang'e, but at the same time, he's not Chang'e. So there's the 3 of them that I absolutely adored in Dashing Youth, and there were several other characters that I did really like. And, it does something when you see them as kids, and then you're seeing them grow up, and you're just, you're seeing little snippets of their life and whatever. It matters. And then you go and do that to them over there in The Blood of Youth. The Blood of Youth is extremely, extremely typical. And there's things about it that had to be different, but at the same time, you're so insulting to all these characters that you made me love, and then you're going and doing this to them all, and there was no reason for it. There was no reason for it. It hurts too much. You can't do this. You can't. I'm so tired of them doing this. And, yeah. Except, I will have to say that in Blood of Youth, there was 3 times when I burst out laughing because what was happening on the screen, the way they did it, I don't even know if it was supposed to be as funny as it was. But, I started laughing so hard, I'm falling out of my chair, falling sideways on my chair, and my stomach actually hurt because I was laughing so hard. There was 3 places in The Blood of Youth. I don't remember exactly where they were because I didn't mark them down. But there was when Lei was trying to do his lightning thing, and the guy on the mountain just, stopped it. If I can find them, I'll put up on screen where I'm talking about so you can see it for yourself. And then the second time was when Muchin just pulls this pigeon out of his sleeve. He's doing this over here with him, and then he walks over and he's doing this here with him. There's absolutely no indication whatsoever that he's got a living pigeon in his sleeve. He just pulls it out. What? No way, you magician, you. Where did that come from? What? And then the 3rd time was when the guy comes along and he's like, yeah, so if this is the problem that's being faced and whatnot, and the guy's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, this and this, and all of a sudden the other girl comes out of there and boom, attack, and blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, that's what... Okay, all 3 of those places, there was just something about the way that it happened, just out of the blue, and then that was super, super good filming and super well done in all 3 of those spots. I burst out laughing so hard. Even telling you about it, I'm laughing because I'm like, what the crap? Oh, it was so good. Oh, so good. But also, yeah, by the way, I don't like Li-Han. I think that's her name. Li-Han. She, unfortunately, when she was a child, this is a character that doesn't make sense to you. I'm telling you, it doesn't make sense. Muyu and Chang'e from Blood River over to Dashing the Blood of Youth don't make sense. You want even worse is, what's her name? Is it Li-Han? Whatever, I'll cut all that out. I can't find her name. I'm pretty sure it's Li-Han. She, within 1 season, completely changed, and they give no justification for it. Which is another indication to me, it sounds like maybe actually he did write The Blood of Youth and then back up and watch write the other 2. Because she's already like this. I mean, she's like this in the Dashing Youth. stupid names. She's like this in the Blood of Youth. Therefore, she has to be like this in the Dashing Youth. Which, not really. But I'm like, you're going to change her that much and you're not going to explain why. This is stupid. It made me mad. Because when she's a child, most of the time that you see her, she's laughing. And she's grinning. And she's joking. And she's like, you know, a little bit like her mother. But also maybe perhaps just a tiny bit like her father. And like, I liked her as a kid. She was cute. I didn't really like the fact that she was kind of disrespectful to her father. I was starting to feel like the author must have some problem with his father. Because why are all your characters so disrespectful to their father? Dongju is insanely disrespectful to his father. Even when his father proved that he did have power, that Dongju's like, oh crap, he's way stronger than I expected him to be. But the typical Dongju, he can't acknowledge that. He literally is not, he's incapable of acknowledging that people are that powerful. Unless they literally knock him flat on the bed. But he's disrespectful to his father, and Li-Han is disrespectful to her father. And not quite to the same degree, maybe. I don't know. Because, I mean, like, you know, when your mother's also disrespectful to your father, how are you supposed to learn to respect your father? When your mother isn't respectful to your father either. But Leia's wife was not as bad as Dongju's parents. She was not as bad. But the point is, as a child, she's like that. And then, I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense. They don't give you any reason for it. Apart from the only reason that I can think of is because she got the sword that taught her the cold thing. So it's like it froze her heart or something. They don't even tell you that that's what happened. This is just the only thing that makes any kind of sense. I'm like, how did she go from that to that? It doesn't make sense. Unless you're going to claim that her sword somehow did it to her. Because Nongong is the one that became her master. There is no way that he could possibly be her master, and she goes from that to that. If anything, it should have gone the other way around. If Nongong is the one teaching her. And yet she goes from this bubbly little thing over here to that. And then, like, when she's an adult, like in Blood River, I didn't like her, but at the same time, I appreciated the fact that she was the only one that went that far with that stupid prince, that if maybe other people had gone that far, half of what happened in Blood River wouldn't have happened. She was like the only one. I'm like, good. Good for not backing down. Good, because he deserves this right now, and he needs a little good slap in the face, and that's what she was giving him. And made him calm down for a little bit, at least. But, like, there were things about her that I actually kind of did like. The flat-faced, stone-faced characters, most of the time I don't really like them because, like I've said before, fine line characters where it's really hard to get them right. I didn't mind her in Blood River. I was only mad about it in Dashing Youth because it made no sense. They didn't explain it to me. How did she go from that to that? And then I meet her in the Blood of Youth and I don't like her at all. I just don't like her in the Blood of Youth. And then you go and tell me that she's supposed to be that close of an age to Sukong when the actors are literally 20 years apart. And I'm like, whoop. Anyway. I guess that's all I'm going to say about them because, like, literally I'd have to, like, walk through pace by pace what it is that each one of the dramas did really well and what they did wrong, but I don't know. Here you go. Another one that's more of a whatnot. This is, like, I can't do it anymore. Excuse me. I had to drop it. I can't. And then there was things that seems to be happening. I mean, like I say. That was another thing. Like I say, what happened in Blood River and what happened with the Blood of Youth, contradictory, because in Blood River, everything that they went through with the Tang Clan, in my brain, I cannot fathom what they were saying in the Blood River. It doesn't match to say that now they're working with them in the Blood of Youth. It just doesn't match, because they made it pretty clear that if you, Dark River made it pretty clear, Muyu and Changha made it pretty clear that if you use them, there's not going to be any future. This is precisely why they told Lanya that even if we aren't enemies, it'll be pretty hard to be friends. They did not entirely rule it out in Blood River. They didn't entirely rule it out. There was still a possibility. They just said it would be really hard. But of course they said, for anybody, it's really hard to be friends with Dark River because of who they are and what they do. But, like, just everything about it, nothing matches up. For them to still even be assassins doesn't make any sense. They pulled out of the martial arts world for 8 years. They weren't part of it. Already in Blood River, they were pulling away from being assassins. Even Changha was pulling away from it. They weren't doing that anymore. And then all of a sudden in Blood of Youth, it's like they never stopped. It's like they're exactly the same as they were before, although maybe not the tools in someone else's hand. Now it's their choice to be assassins. I'm like, why the crap are you people assassins again? You were departing from that. This doesn't make sense. And then the fact that they're working with the Tongue Clan of all people. I'm like, that Tongue Clan majorly used and abused and manipulated and whatnot. It was not going to work. They made it clear in Blood River that it's not going to work. And all this is probably also spoilers. But then in Blood of Youth, who is it that they're working with? In order to work against our main characters so that they can be the bad guys that we can destroy? It doesn't make any sense. It does not match. Nothing. Everything amazing and epic and good that they did in Blood River, they destroyed in the Blood of Youth. They destroyed it all. And it doesn't match up. It's not justified. It doesn't match up. It's no good. I can't do it. That's it. Not 2 hours. Not even a full hour. Some of that I might even cut out because at the moment it's 40 minutes and 12 seconds. There you go. Can't do it. So, I don't know what you think. If you've seen these, what were your favorite things about it? Who are your favorite characters and why? Which season was your favorite character and why? What order did you watch them in? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you agree with anything or not? Let me know in the comments. Just be polite about it. Bye.